Welcome to program about alien UFO. We are going to speak about today in this show, in this program, about time travel. We are in Peru with about an host about this topic. My name is Angel Gabriel UFO. I'm from Peru. In the future, we are going to speak another topics, but is relation about alien UFO. Many cases about this topic is fascinating because in the world have experience with this phenomenon. Many people are interested about this topic. Today we are going to speak about. Today we have a special guest again. Is the third time participate in this program. He is Norway. Many people maybe they can listen about pilot. He knows has about universal consciousness. He has writing many books as a spiritual science. Another more books. He has many experience phenomenon because study a lot. So today he will her experience. But today we are going to speak about time travel, possible or maybe no. I don't know. But today we are going to speak about time travel. How are you today, my dear friend Aage Nost?
I am fine. I am wonderful, I think. I am speaking to you here from the southwest of the United States, where the weather is nice and the rest of the country of the United States is freezing.
So, tell me, what time is in your country right now?
Say that again?
What time is it?
The time is a little after 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. So in Peru is 11 p.m. 11 p.m.
2 hours apart. Right?
Yes. So we are going to speak. I can repeat about time travel. Could you tell us a little bit about you, people who don't know? You tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, well, okay. I based in Northern Europe, in Norway, and left Norway at the age of 25 to go to the United States to become a commercial pilot. And flew for living for 23 years, and we had me and a partner had a flight school. We had an international air taxi, and we grew into a career. And it was great flying, but after many years I kind of burned out, so I started doing other things, studying the mind and writing and painting and doing some other things. And now, of course, I ended up in Tucson, Arizona, where I have a radio show. I've done two TV shows I hosted and produced here, and I've written some books, and just trying to have fun. And I really enjoy this. Saying goes, that find something you love to do will never work a day in your life.
Good, my dear friend. So many people, if listener can know more about you, you can listen many audios in channel YouTube Angel Gabriel UFOs. So my dear friend has a web page. What is your web page, my dear friend?
Yeah, the web page where you can go and see some of the things that I have written about, and I also have 1,400 really strange, unusual pictures in the picture gallery. And I have blogs there that explain the mysteries of the universe, and you can go to www.aage-nst. And that website is, there's a new one coming up, and I will be notifying people of that on this website, so you will find the new one also on that one. Those pictures, you can get in there and start looking, and there's many, I mean there are hundreds of different UFO pictures of aliens, of buildings and structures and people walking on the moon, on Mars. In fact, I have NASA photos of structures and pyramids on Venus, also on some of the moons of Saturn and some of the other planets, because NASA has found it, put it up. They keep it a secret. So it's up to us to find it and publish it, and I have done that. So it's a very interesting site. You should go visit.
Good. We are going to right now we are going to speak about time travel. In the social media, there are many news about time travel. So is it possible or is not possible? But we are going to read about article about this topic about time travel. Example, newspaper Express. This newspaper is from England. The title is, for example, Russian cosmonaut already live in future. Private time travel is possible. It's possible and has already happened, according to several psychics. These cosmonauts, one way to achieve time travel into the future would be traveling at the speed of light in space, theories by Albert Einstein. Now, Sergei technically live in the future due to his extended period on the International Space Station. The almost 804 days in space arrive back in Earth future, thanks to process known as time dilatation. Theories of time travel engineers would have to build a spaceship to travel at the speed of the light and head out into space. This string theorist Brian Greene of Columbia University said, "You can build a spaceship, go out into space, the speed of light, turn around and come back. To go out for 6 months and you turn around and you come back. While you are traveling at the speed of light, time stays slow relative to the people who are standing still back on the air. You would be going fast while your clock would still be going slow. Prof. Green, when you step out of your ship, you are 1 year older, but Earth has gone through many years. Gone through 1,000 or million years, depending on how close to the speed of light you travel. The only problem is the machine traveling at such a speed would require an unimaginable amount of energy. Stress from the centrifugal force on the body would likely prove fatal. But there is another feasible way to travel, and once again it involves going into outer space. Einstein also theorizes to stay yourself on the edge of a black hole more and slowly. Prof. Green explained in this video, you hang out for a while, you come back, get out of your ship, and it will be any number of years into the future. And all depending on how close you got to the edge of the black hole and how long you hang out there. That is time travel to the future. But time travel has already happened, according to now. Could you tell us about time travel for you, my dear friend Aage Nost, according to this article or another article is about Albert Einstein's theories? He says it's possible near or maybe when we can have a machine. It's possible to time travel near the speed of the light. As is possible time travel with machine or no?
Yeah, I can say, I can make a statement to that fact. Yes, it is possible to time. And what you were reading in this article of 3 different ways where you could do this. First of all, you travel at the speed of light. That will also to travel within this concept of time. Another method is extreme gravity will alter time. Third one, which is probably the most effective one, which I believe that UFOs are using, that is the power of the mind. And there are crashed UFOs have been found. Just the shell. There were no instruments in them. Which tells me that whoever flew that thing, the pilot, was using his mind to make the ship travel. So we can say that. And the reason I'm saying science says that time travel is possible, because there is here is an article, and I read this several years ago. It's in a science magazine called Technology and Innovation, and it says physicists demonstrate how time can seem to run backwards and the future can affect. It was written by Professor Andrew Trescott. And there, there is another article in Nature Physics. It speaks of a study, scientific experiments showing time can in fact run backwards. Science is coming around to the fact that this is possible. Done. So now it's a question of, that's all. Because we have 2 forms of physics, so to speak. We have Newtonian physics that Newton kind of spearheaded about 3 centuries ago. Now that's been built on up to today, but they have not strayed too far away from his principles. But then we have that speak of the fact that everything is connected, and what we see around us is not real. It is only an expression behind it all. So we live in a mind-created universe, and our mind can create things around us. And if that is the case, it can create in the now. The mind being outside of the physical, which does not have time and space as we know it and see it, it can create something in the future. The mind, we can think of things in the future, so we create things in the future. We think of things in the past. and we recreate things in the past. Never happened in the past. Always been told that time travels in one direction from the present moment into the future with only a technical, recorded, locked in stone record of the past. That's what we've been told. Now science is now finding that this is not quite the way it is. It's different. Quantum mechanics speaks of a different way to look at this illusion of time, because in a physical four-dimensional existence, everything is a mind-created illusion. And there's two books that speaks very eloquently, understandably on this. And one book is, first of all, the one I wrote, which I'll talk to you about later. And then we have the Field and the Intention Experiment by Lynn McTaggart. There's another one, and that is Entangled Minds by scientific researcher Dean Radin. Now they show proof by scientific experiments that we can respond to an unknown future event before it happens. So how can that be? Well, if time only goes in one direction, it cannot happen, but it does. So that is what's opening up the door for quantum physics to be more understood. Not necessarily the equations of it, because that is beyond me. I lose myself in it. I understand some of it, but I lose most of it. But the concepts and the principles, that we can understand. If there were a case, let's say the effects even could not reach back into the past, then it would be operating by Newtonian science. See, Newtonian science forbid it, so we have to stay with quantum mechanics, because that is where the solutions to the newer universe that we are now exploring can be understood. And there is experiments here in spontaneous evolution. Bruce Lipton and Steve Behrman, they speak of a scientific experiment where the subjects, they were hooked up to biometric electric sensors which register physical and emotional reactions to things that they see. Subjects are shown a succession or a row of pictures, as slide images. And most of the pictures were really pleasant. They were like kittens and green grass and flowers and pleasant things like that. But in between them, there were 3% of those pictures. 1 out of 100 of those pictures were gruesome, shocking, extreme violence, and decapitations, horrible things to look at. And when these pictures came up, the amazing thing is that the subject expressed an emotional response to the violent and disturbing pictures several seconds before the pictures were shown to them. So the people that were sitting there with these electrodes on their head, they could know the future. So if they can know the future, then the future reaches back into the past, which is now, and give us an effect. That proves that traveling from the present to the future and back is possible. This experiment staggers the mind if we think about it. And if we look at this as a principle or a concept, we could start structuring our thinking to operate within that concept. See, time is not linear. And that is one thing that we really don't understand, because we don't really know, well, some of us do, science, Newtonian physics, has not explained what time is. Up to now, there is actually no scientific evidence that time even exists. But we see the effects of it, but not that time exists. Now, what I saw in the download that I had from the universe was time was explained and it was shown so that it operates just like pictures, just like a series of pictures stacked one behind each other. So if one picture represents one split present moment, and then it goes to the next picture, which is another split present moment, and the third picture, another present moment, and they are stashed behind each other in a long row like that. And what I saw was that you have one picture, and then that picture collapses between that picture until the next picture. Nothing. The universe does not exist. Next picture come, the universal field rebuild itself on the basis of the last picture, illusion to the next one. And then it collapses. The third picture, it collapses, and the fourth picture. And these pictures are stacked one after another one, so close, fast, that when we are moving through that, it appears as it is one flowing succession and progression of time. This is hard to understand. The universe can actually collapse and there is nothing there. That one is hard to understand because it is not the universe that is collapsing, it's the projection of it. Look at the physical reality. It is not real as such. It does have substance, but it only has mental substance. There is no physical substance in it. It is only given the perception of the physical. And there is an evidence for that. And I think I actually mentioned this on a previous show that I was with you. I can actually prove this somewhat by an analogy. And that is that, see, I am a hypnotist. And if soft chair and talk to you for about 20 minutes and tell you that when you wake up, you will see an elephant standing next to you in the room. Did my job right? When you wake up, you see that elephant. Now, I can't see it because the elephant is not there, but you will see it. Then touch the elephant and you can feel the rough skin. You can smell it. You can hear him breathing. To you, that elephant is totally, but you are under hypnosis and you are given the perception to see that elephant. But it is real to you. You can smell him. So what is the difference? Under hypnosis or that reality that you're living every day? What is the difference? It is kind of the same thing, only two different avenues to have it projected to you. We must presume that the universe added than I would, so it can create a little better and more longer lasting hypnotic or hologram that you are working and you're living in. Are you still with me on this one?
Yes. Thanks for share information, for share your knowledge about time travel.
yeah, it is not easy to understand, but the thing about it is that if we step outside of the physical, where time and space does not exist, everything is possible, because everything past, present and future is sitting in that soup of creation where everything is. And now, if we go to that soup of creation, we can, let's say we think of something that we want to see in the future, or we're curious about what is going on in the future. Let's say 10 years from now, what will the future be like? If we step out of that physical, what we call reality, into that soup of creation, and we ask the question, what is world like 10 years from now? Then somebody in our reality have thought of it and placed it in the future so we can see it, and we attach to the vibration of what is 10 years from now, and we start pulling that back so we can see it and in fact live it.
Okay.
One thing where the mind can do more things than what a physical time travel device can. A time travel device is more locked into things that is already laid out. But the mind can create things and create new things that was not created before, and you can place that into the future, and then you going back and forth and visit it all the time, and you create a timeline to that thing so you can know and see, and you can actually live that thing in the future before it happens. I have a little electronic device that I've had some very strange experiences with. And this electronic device is, well, it's kind of unique in many ways, because it's called the HDR, the hyperdimensional resonator. It was made by a man over in Kansas, United States. His name was Stephen Gibbs. Stephen Gibbs. And he makes these time travel devices. And he makes them so that the people that practices with them, they can actually have experiences. There's quite a few people that have had many strange experiences with it. And what I got a hold of one of those devices, and I practiced and I practiced with it. I could get nothing. Until, well, it took me several months to get anywhere. But when I started to manipulate my brainwave pattern, lower the brainwave pattern into the alpha range to the bottom of the alpha range, things started happening. I started seeing things, and I started experiencing things that hasn't happened yet at the time. I lowered the brainwave pattern I tried to lock it in at 7.4 cycles per second. There is something magic about that 7.4. That's it's a good frequency to interact with the universal consciousness. And when I started doing that, I started seeing things, and at the time I didn't really write it down or make a log of it, but I saw some things. But I also noticed that some of the things I saw, much of it happened. It did not happen. And I was puzzled over that. I could not understand, if I'm going into the future, why is not what I see happening? I did not understand timelines. See, we create our timeline into the future, and create things in the future on the basis what we allow to be in our mind. And we create that, our fears, our wishes, our wants, our dreams, desires of things that we want in the future. If we want something really a lot, if you want it bad enough, and we think about it in the future all the time, start and forth to that thing that we create in the future, and we create attractor strings to it. And what happens is that we get pulled up those attractor strings, up that timeline to that thing in the future. And if we are slowing down our brainwave pattern to about 7.4, or probably somewhere close to that, we could find ourselves in the future living that thing that we have created. And that's what I did not understand when I saw things that did not happen. Because at the time I was hosting and producing 2 TV shows in Tucson, and we were very much into the negative of all the garbage that the government is doing to people, and all the negative stuff. And I was covering that on TV, and that created a negative vibration in my mind that I carried on into the future and created things in the future in a different timeline than I am now. So what I saw in those instances, it very well happened in a different timeline, but not in the timeline that I later on were living, because my mind changed. I gave way to the negative stuff, and I just started looking at things more positive in creation and what could be possible to do, and things like that. And then I changed my future. So what was in the future then was different than what I saw several years earlier. And now I understand that I created a new timeline which had new things in it, and good things. And that's what I've been working on now, to create good things in that future, and also good things. I haven't been able to change all of that yet, but technically, according to what quantum mechanics says, we can actually, experiments that I mentioned, we can technically go back and change the past. The past that you like to change, Angel?
Wow! So I remember the movie about time travel. When it's a film, it's well known. This person travel to the past, but in a photo disappear when he changed the event. The photo disappear. But it's a
that's right.
it's a paradox for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a fun movie. And see, the thing is that things like this is possible, but we are not changing the present past. We go back. Let's say that you did something really stupid, let's say 5 years ago. Really stupid. I got my hand up on it. I've done a lot of stupid things. So what we could do, go back to a year, let's say 5.5 years ago, and keep this stupid thing in mind, and go back and condition ourselves that when we get to that position at that time, when we are about to make that decision, we will do a different decision. And we keep thinking on making a different decision. And we do that with intention, with emotion, vivid, colorful pictures, love, and in gratitude for things that is good and happens differently. And then when we get to that time, we very well could be making a different decision, so we create a new timeline. The old timeline may go on or collapse, we don't really care, but in the new timeline we will have no memory of the old one, because the old one doesn't exist anymore in the new timeline. So we technically could create a new timeline for ourselves, not necessarily correcting the past that we have now, but in the new timeline it will be a new past. So that is what's so interesting, because according to the formulas of quantum physics, this could be done. And I think I've done some of that, because there are some things that is happening that I have, according to the past, should not have happened. So I think that I have done some of that, not knowing what I left behind, but new things. And I am kind of excited about that, because I see some good things in my future. And everybody else that is with me in this timeline, we have some very nice things happening. And especially those of us that, the higher conscious thinking people like you and me and everybody listening to this show, because you wouldn't be listening to this show unless you have an open mind and you are ready to let go of some of the negative garbage we are being programmed with and start thinking new again. So this is exciting. We can actually do this.
Okay, very good, very good. So, for example, if we could travel in the past, for example, if you could time travel in the past, for example, you would kill your father. What would happen if you kill your father in the past? What happened in this case?
Yeah, that's kind of a bum thing to say, because I kind of like the guy, so we shouldn't have done that. But on the other hand, this is called, or if you went back and killed your grandfather, that's called the grandfather paradox. What happened if you were to do that is that where you are in this timeline would collapse. If you went back and killed your father, you would create a new timeline. Wow. Where your father would not exist. Okay. So then the question is, would you exist?
Okay. So
probably not. You might end the timeline.
Okay, so according physical scientists, according to theories, we live in a universe, parallel universe. For example, in this time you were ex-pilot, but in another universe you weren't pilot.
I could be a farmer back in Europe in another timeline.
Okay.
Very likely.
Okay, you create a new timeline, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So also in the social media, in the news, we can see, for example, photos, 1914, for example, time travelers. For example, we can see in the photo many people are there, but in this photo there is a strange person who wear sunglasses, who wear a smartphone in the 1914. But in that moment, humanity didn't create a smartphone. But in a photo, we can see a smartphone in a photo. In the news, we can see this photo, these time travelers. Is possible this photo is real or is a fake photo? Is possible person come of the future or the past in this timeline? No, in this timeline.
No, that's a very difficult question to say much about, because when you look at, I've seen that picture, and when you look at that man, he even have a T-shirt that has printing on the front of it, and nobody had that back in 1940s. So it looks like he's misplaced. And, you know, it's hard to know these days with Photoshop, you know, and how you can manipulate pictures and stuff. It's really hard to know. But I tell you one incident that is real and cannot be questioned. And that is, there was an 800-year-old tomb in China that was opened up. And there was a sarcophagus, or a coffin in there, where there was a Chinese local ruler that was died and was put in there, and they got the stone lid off, and this was all done on camera. The camera was on it all the time from several different angles, and they open up the lid, and in there found a small Swiss watch. It was rusted, it was corroded, but it was a small Swiss watch. It's a woman's watch. And this watch, when they investigated it, they found it to be made somewhere in the late 1970s in Switzerland and sold everywhere. It was a very popular watch. That was found inside of an 800-year-old tomb, and it was found on camera where nobody had the chance to put it there. That one is unexplainable. And another thing too is that I think, there may be others, but I think I'm the only one I know of that actually have photographic evidence of time travel. And that is, if you go to my website and go www.aage-nost.com and go into the photo gallery, the photo gallery with the photo album is what it's called, and that is on page 8 of the photo album. And let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 7th row down from the top. I have 2 pictures in the middle. The 2 pictures are different. They are, what I did here, I did a trip, time travel trip back to a specific time. And I took the picture. Well, let me back up a little. First, I took a picture of the this is taken from a video camera of a small town in Norway. So I took a screenshot of the street where it was, and later I went back to the same exact time, but it was done later. Hours later, and then the pictures are different, but I went back to the time of the first one. So obviously I went back into a different timeline, because you can see the pictures are different, but it is the exact same time. Well, 1 minute apart, the 2 pictures. I couldn't get it exactly the same time, because I was at the same time, but the picture did not until about a minute later. So you can see the 2 pictures. One of them, you have leaves on the trees, and the other one does not have leaves on the trees. And one of them have rain reflecting off the road, light reflecting in the rain, and the other one is totally dry roads. But it is the same time. So the timestamp is the same. So you can see the two pictures are different. And if you go to that and look at the pictures, then you can read my explanation of how I got this done, and it's kind of interesting. And also, there is something called time slippage, which my co-host on my radio show here, she lives over in Germany, and she goes to work every day. She's done that for a long time. She takes the bus 10 minutes after 7 in the morning. And there were one day she got to the bus station and she was just standing there, nothing happened. 30 minutes later, the bus showed up and she says, "What happened to the bus 10 after 7? And the bus driver looked at her like she was crazy and says, "There is no bus at 10 after 7. And she asked, "Well, look in the on the directory. I have taken this bus for years, 10 after 7. And he said, no, there is no bus 10 after 7. He showed her in the written directory of the bus schedule, there were nothing at 10 after 7.
Okay.
So she took the bus and went to work, and the next day she went back for the bus at 10 after 7, and the bus showed up. But that one day, something happened. The bus did not exist. So obviously she ended up in a different timeline or a parallel universe where there were no bus at 10 after 7.
I remember 10 years, no, 5 years ago, for example, in that time, I could see my smartphone. In my smartphone came a message, but the future, because in that time when I saw my clock, it was 8 o'clock a.m. But the message was 10 o'clock. Oh, I can see what happened in that moment. Message came of the future. I couldn't understand that. Maybe it's a electronic electronic fake message, but the message it was of the future. I couldn't understand in that moment, but it's possible it's another timeline. Maybe I don't know, but it's possible in the air we can find black holes or dimensional doors in one part. I don't know. Enter a portal, dimensional portal, door dimension. Yeah. Maybe we don't know. We don't know where is the place, but for the accident we can enter the door dimension, but we don't know. We don't know. I can remember, for example, 1 month ago, a person went to Antarctica. He entered door dimensional, and so we can see another things, another spiritual beings. But this is possible because theory, Einstein. I can Stephen Hawking. Maybe you listen Stephen Hawking, physical from England, UK. Stephen Hawking in his book say about that. We can time travel in black holes, or we can time travel in holes, dimensional holes. Is it possible? But today it's possible in the future. Okay, I agree with you. It's possible in the future, but in the present, it's possible. We have a machine. We have a spaceship. Can do that. It's possible. Secret space program have this technology. It's possible right now. time travel with machine, with spaceship?
Yeah, and what you were talking about too, time travel through a black hole. We always have been told that black holes have so much mass and so much gravity, they suck everything in. I mean, whole suns can be sucked into black holes. Nothing comes out. Until about 2 months ago, NASA took a picture of a stream of something coming out of the center of the black hole. So something is happening. And if that is the case, it should be possible to go both in and come out of the black hole, maybe in a different area of physical reality. Both different area and different time. So yeah, the thing when we have these experiences you were talking about, after it happened, we think about it and say, well, gee, that's impossible, so it couldn't have happened. I misunderstood, and then we just forget about it.
Okay,
well,
okay.
We shouldn't forget.
Okay. But right now we have spaceships like Enterprise from the movie Enterprise, travel to the star in the movie. For example, in that movie, there are Enterprise can time travel, but as a humanity have a spaceship can travel speed of the light, more of the speed of the light. We have machine, or we don't have machine right now?
Well, we don't have any machine right now that can do that we are told of. But the black projects of the United States, the secret space program, can very well have these kinds of ships. Because the speed of light is not really a limitation to travel. We can travel faster than speed of light. Gravity travels at a minimum of 164 or 65 times the speed of light. So if gravity can do that, then we also find other things that can. So what I'm seeing here is that it's just like the head or the leader of the skunk works at Lockheed Martin. He said that if you have seen it on Star Trek, he says, we know how to do it. So they have technologies that is developed so far ahead of us, 50, 100 years ahead of what we are allowed to know about. My question then is, should we not find that maybe they can pass the speed of light? Because aliens coming from other star systems, they travel faster than speed of light. And we know that the people at Skunkworks, they've been working with aliens. So we may already have the technology to do it.
So, and maybe one expert says we come of the future. We come of the future with alien. Come of the future. Many researchers, UFO researchers, say that alien grace come of the future. Is real, or is real news, or is fake news? Alien come of the future.
Well, I think this. I know that time does not exist in the physical first. It's only an expression of the mind-created illusion that we are living in form of a hologram. So knowing that, I think we can create absolutely anything that our mind behind it all can visualize into effect in the physical. So we can do amazing things if we only believe and intend that we can. So I think speed of light is no limitation. I think we already have, I say we, I mean at least some technologies and people on Earth, they have the technology to go beyond the speed of light, because aliens are doing it, we can do it. Simple. And there is so much evidence. We talked about the little watch that was found in the tomb in China, and what you mentioned, and also in the Guizhou province in China, there are thousands of people that has been reporting time dilations after going through a 400-meter long tunnel. Most they're gaining about an hour by going through that tunnel. Mobile phones and watches, they gain time. Now, a Chinese journalist for the I don't speak Chinese, so I am probably butchering this, from the Yang Evening News, he did an experiment and he drove through the tunnel 10 times and he gained about an hour 8 of those times. So he was 8 hours that he gained by driving through the tunnel 10 times. And he reported on this on TV. And then, of course, there is some explanation that the government came out and said, well, yeah, there is a telephone transmitter on the side of the tunnel sending out an incorrect time signal, which puts the clocks back an hour. Well, okay, that, later though, then they seemed like people got far away from the tunnel, the time reset itself. Well, then there's a problem, because this sounds reasonable and it could explain the problem, but the signal does not change mechanical clocks. People with mechanical clocks also had their time changed. So there has to be something different. And there's no explanation to this one so far. I read about this one. I think you may have sent me this one, so I did a little more research and I found that, yeah, the people with regular clocks without batteries and without electronics in them, watches change also. So now there's a problem there. There is something real in that tunnel.
Okay, it's real, but we don't have machine, right? We don't have machine to time travel right now.
Well, the little device that I have, I think some strange things can be done with it, and probably more so mental time travel, or it could be physical, because there are stories of some of the people that have used that time travel device and they have disappeared. There's 2 people that cannot be found after they started to use the time travel device. And to this day, I don't know any more about them, but at the time they disappeared and they couldn't find them. So, yeah, that happens.
Okay. What do you think about experiment about Philadelphia experiment? It's a cruise ship in the ocean. Ocean disappeared. Person appeared in another place, but this person was older than in the another moment. Do you know about this experiment, Philadelphia experiment in the ocean? Yeah. For example, this experiment is many people, many scientists speak about that. It happened or this didn't happen. The experiment, older people become older with physical problems, and they could time travel. What do you think about this case?
Well, I am totally convinced that it did happen, because there is one man that was on the ship. He was working with Einstein at the time, and they were creating they had 3 magnetic generators, one in the front, one midship, and one in the stern in the back. and they fired up the magnetic generators, and they were so strong that there was a green. People on shore saw the green fog around the ship. And of course, Al Bielek is one of the people that was on the ship, and I have interviewed him 10 times on radio shows about 15 years ago. And he sounds very much up on the science behind it, and he sounds very believable when he thinking back on it. Back then, I didn't understand all he was talking, but now I'm thinking back on what he said, and it makes sense. I know more too. And that ship disappeared. There were eyewitnesses that say when it came back, there were the metal had kind of joined. There were some of the people that had sunk into the metal, and they were sticking out of the metal, and there were some of them, most of them died within a very short time afterwards. And there were a story from one of the bartenders on shore that there were two people, when they came to shore, then they went across the street, up the street a little bit, into a bar, and they were sitting at the bar, and they disappeared. And there was some lingering effect on some of these people, but they were either missing or dead within a few days afterwards. But Al Bielek, he had survived by jumping overboard. And he felt like he was falling into the blackness of nothingness for quite a while, and then he found himself in far in the future. So there is something that happened there, and we're not really sure what had happened. They did the experiment, and I'm sure of that, because also afterwards they did a lot of repairs on the ship. They replaced the decking on it, and they did an awful lot of repairs to make it look like it should have been, and not just bent out of shape like it did after the experiment. So something happened there, I'm sure of that.
Wow, it's fascinating, this history. So the conclusion is, in the future we can time travel. Maybe 10 years from now we will create a machine, spaceship, possible to time travel. 10 years from now, right? But today only we can time travel through our mind. Maybe aliens have technology, can time travel with a ship. But space, maybe a secret space program has this technology. It could be, right? NASA has this technology. NASA has this technology, or NASA don't have this technology.
NASA, I don't think have it, because they are just for show. That's a publicity stunt, what they're doing. They don't really do anything of value. They're just out there to make it look good for people. The real technology is behind, way behind, into the dark, obscure, secret programs.
Okay.
That's where it's at.
Okay, one question for you. If you could time travel, what time would you like to time travel in the past? Maybe when you are a child, or in the past, maybe in the decade 40s, 70s. What would you like to time travel for you?
Well, I would go far into the future, which I've already seen some of that, but I would go further into the future and see what is in there a few thousand years from now. And I would love to have a look at that. And I haven't really done that yet, so that's probably what I should do. But that would be interesting.
Okay.
That would be very interesting. See what happened to mankind.
Okay. But if you could time travel in the past, choose, what would you choose? Maybe you change your ex-girlfriend.
Well, yeah, that could be kind of enjoyable, but no, I think into the deep, dark past, I would go back a few million years and find the civilizations that were highly developed then and see how they lived.
Okay.
Because there were other civilizations, very highly developed civilization that was on Earth, but they destroyed themselves from natural disasters, or maybe they blew themselves up, or whatever happened, because they are no longer around.
Okay. But in my case, I would like to change my past. I would travel the past when I knew my ex-girlfriend. I I would like to stay with her more time, because I think no we can conclusion is different, so we couldn't change the past another time. So, but I would like to live this experience.
Yeah.
I would like to stay with her more time in the past, because I would like to know new emotion with her more time. I would spend time a lot with her. For me, it would be a good experience with that.
Yeah.
But it's my wish, no? It's my wish. I would like to know that, right?
But in the mind, see, you remember on Star Trek they said, space, the final frontier? I think they had that wrong. Mind is the final frontier, because mind is all there is. And we can reach within the mind, and we do that through meditation starting out, and to the point where we can develop a two-way flow of information, and going from the conscious mind through the subconscious mind into the superconscious mind and onto the universal mind, where all and everything exists and is accessible to us. And then we can start pulling that back through the same channel up to conscious understanding, and we can see what is there. This could create both a flow of information, or it can be flow of existence. So we could go into the future that way, or into the past, and find things and live it, relive it possibly, or know what is there in our present timeline.
Okay. Okay. According our dreams, when we have dreams, for example, we can see the future events, the future. For example, in my case, when I sleep, I dream something. In the future, it happens. My dreams tell me what happened in the future, and maybe with our minds we can time travel in the future. For example, people have predictions about the future because he traveled through their mind, right? So maybe it's another possible to time travel in the future, right?
Absolutely. And when you said you had a dream that happened later on, that means you were able to connect to that super creation. You reach through the subconscious and all the way into that super creation where that thing already had happened in the future. So you pull back the knowledge of it, so it became part of the dream. That is very good, because if you did it once, you can do it again.
Yes. Many times it happens to me. Many times, no frequently, no always, but many times it happens to me. I can see about in my dream what happened in the future, but It's possible. Many people happen that, right? In your case,
Yes,
happen.
have that.
In your case, happen you this phenomenon?
Yeah, I've had that happen too, and on several occasions. And what I'm trying to do is to design the future more so, and just not just allowing for things to happen, but I go in there and I create something in the future in my mind, in colorful pictures with emotion and intention and love, and I just build on it and build on it and build on it and go back and visit it every day, so I get pulled up that timeline to that thing in the future. So I don't look right, I don't look left, I look straight at that thing, and that's where I am going. So people should do that, because then they can create their own timeline the way they want it to be in the future.
Okay, okay, very, very good. This interview is nice. It's nice because we are speaking about time travel is possible. We have conclusion is possible in the future. Right now, maybe a space seeker program have technology, alien have technology, these machines, spaceship, and right in the future, I think I agree with you. In the future, all is possible because we are developing new technologies. We evolve every day. Every day we evolve. So, for example, in the past, travel to the moon, it wasn't possible, but it happened. It come true, right? So many books, science fiction, come true in this time. Time travel in the future also, right?
Absolutely.
Tell us about your web page. Is the end the show, right? And you can read.
www.a. Oh, are you there?
Yes, I can listen you.
Oh, okay. www.aage-nost.com. And you can go there, you can snoop around in the picture gallery and also in the blogs. And I have a book out that will explain a lot of the universe, the secrets of the universe, so to speak, that quantum physics is now starting to uncover a lot of. And it also teaches you to use your mind so you can do amazing things with it. And that's what the book is all about. And you can also find it on Amazon and a few places. So go there and see all the subjects that is in it. I bet you're going to like probably at least 90% of them. So have a look at that and then get it. And I'm also saying to people, if you buy the book and read it 3 times, your life will never be the same. And also, if you do, then get in touch with me, because then we should talk, because you are ready for stage 3. I mean stage 2. There is another stage up and beyond. So that's when you learn more of the good stuff.
I recommend you visit your webpage. I visit your webpage. I visit your gallery. You have interesting picture about pyramids in Mars, about your history. So interesting picture. I recommend you visit your webpage, Aage Nost from Aage Nost. So how many books do you write?
Well, 20-some years ago, I co-wrote one with a lady over in Nebraska, and that one is out of print right now. So I have 2 books right now that I am actually working with. One of them is Universal, excuse me, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. And the other book is Universal Success Principles and How Billionaires Think. Because if you are in business or like to be in business, if you should want to become very successful at what you do, start doing what billionaires and the super successes of the world does, and your business will change. You will start reaching into things that was not available to you before. So have a look at that. You can also find that on my website.
So 3 books, right? 3 books.
Yeah.
Okay, but in the future, I would like to know. Would you like to listen about your book about universal consciousness, universal, because it's related to spiritual, right? Universal consciousness.
Yeah, there's another book coming out, and it's not ready yet, but it will be coming, and that will be more in detail about the universal consciousness also. So it's not there yet, but it'll be sometime probably within the next year or so.
Okay, how can we your book? How can we get it?
Okay, Amazon has it. Just put my name in there, search my name, and you'll find it. And also on my website, if you scroll down in the blogs, you will find the book. And also there is on the website there is a section there about products and stuff. You can find it there too. In the blogs, there is more descriptions, so you can find it in there also. Both books are in there.
Okay. How much time did you spend time to write the universal consciousness? How many time did you spend time?
How much time? I think it just probably took a few months, but that wasn't full time. But when I had that downloaded information coming, that happened within 10 seconds, and then I sat there and wrote for 3 days. I got a lot of information there, and I backed that up with science and quantum physics, so it's more explainable and it's more real to some people. So I can see that.
Okay, so you spent time months, 4 months, 3 months, right?
Yeah, that took about that to write it.
Okay, so maybe if you want in the future, maybe in another day, I would like to know this about your book about universal consciousness, because I think it's interesting. Your book is spiritual, right? About the consciousness, the higher consciousness, about God. God.
Yeah, it's for someone that wants to expand themselves. This is a good one for that, because it takes you from where you are, and it allows you to learn what to do in order to reach into the higher realms and get the higher knowledge and do some higher conscious thinking. And it also teaches you the universal success principles, as well as how the universe works, what we are, and how we can create things that we do not have yet, but we basically are thinking it into existence by going into the future, grabbing a hold of the matching vibration to it, and bringing it back into your life. So there are things that the mystics of the past knew how to do this, and then it was lost. Now it is here for us to learn more about it.
Okay, very good. So if you want in the future, we can speak about this topic if you want, my dear friend, because many people would like to know about laws or universal laws, how it works universe. I remember I read a book about Hermes Trismegisto. Hermes, maybe you can listen Hermes Trismegisto. Maybe you can listen the book about Kybalion. In Spanish is Kybalion. I don't know in English. But these books explain about laws, universe laws. When we can connect universe, we can live better. If we could connect with universe, we love universe. So it's going to be fascinating, this topic about universe, how it works.
Yeah, the thing about it is that the universe is mind created too. All the planets and the galaxies, the black holes and everything, it is also mind created. Because everything is mind. So it has to be just a projection of the mind, because this is what we expect to see out there. This is what we have been creating for the last thousands of years. Everybody expects it to be this way, so we make it be this way. Now, there are sometimes other people come up with different ideas, and to them that could be just as real. But we have different ideas than them, and we may be interacting, but not quite in the same universe, so to speak.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Aage Nost, for your time, for share your information, for share your knowledge. It's a good for people. This I think in the future this video, many people are going to listen this video, this audio. So it's good because for you, for us, because we can learn every day. We can learn more and more and more. We can learn. We can live better. We can live. We can live in world, better world. So it's good, my dear friend. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, my dear friend Aage Nost. Your last word, my dear friend.
Oh, thank you. And I hope a lot of your listeners also speak English so they can get this.
Okay. So, okay. Well. This is the end of the program. Today we are about 1 hour and half. It's a long time, because in the past shows, in the past program, it was only 1 hour, but today hour and half, because my dear friend have many knowledge about these topics, so it's a good guest. Great for maybe listener, my dear friend.
Okay, that sounds good. So I thank you very much for inviting me on, and I have fun as always. This is good.
Okay. Goodbye, my dear friend. Goodbye. Have a good night. Have a sweet drink. Maybe you can you can dream about the future with your mind. Thanks a lot, my dear friend. Goodbye, listener. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Thanks for listening to you. Thanks for listening to us, dear friend Aage Nost and a host, Angel Gabriel. Goodbye. See you in the next time.
Thank you. Take care now. Goodbye.